Hi everyone, my name is Krys Strong. I am one of the client care coordinators here in the Instead Pasadena office. If you asked me 10 years ago where I saw myself today, I couldn't tell you that I would be in senior care. I love what I do, but my background has been property management, and I was a recruiter. I even taught preschool and kindergarten for a while. So this is very different from where I came from. I grew up in Pasadena. Pasadena has always been home for me, and I am blessed to be able to raise my kids here in the city I grew up in. I have a husband. His name is Alan, and we recently celebrated 26 years, and we have two kids. Jordan is 19 and Alyssa is 14. So I have some questions that I'm going to go through, and hopefully I'll give you some insight into what it's like to be a caregiver. The first question is, what was your path to caregiving? And my path to caregiving was serendipitous. I love that word. It's such a wonderful word. Try saying that word without smiling, and I bet you can't do it. So serendipitous, what that means is when something occurs or happens and it's just by chance, or discovered by chance. And that's kind of like how Home Instead came into my life. It was all by chance. I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years, and life was great. I was the boss of me, I was the boss of home, and did whatever I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it. I would drop off the kids in the morning, drop them off at school, pick them up in the afternoon, and all those hours in between I got to do whatever I wanted, whatever things that interested me. I got that done, and I still had dinner ready by 5:30. So life was great. Life was great, but also 15 years, a lot of things changed. We sacrificed a lot in our lives in order for me to be home with my kids, and they were growing. A lot of times when I would tell people, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and they figure, okay, you're gonna pick up your kids, and they're like little, but no, I'm picking up my kids in 6th grade and in high school. So it was time. It was time to start thinking about another job. I wasn't even thinking about a career. I was just like, I just want to do just enough to make some extra money. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to work full-time or part-time. I didn't know what I wanted to do. The only thing I was sure of was that I wanted to be home when my kids were home. That was my priority. So I came across an ad that I saw for Home Instead. It was a job posting. I think it was on Indeed. And they were talking about flexible hours, flexible shifts. And I was like, wow, that could be something I can do. I've got 2 kids. They're alive. They survived me. I think I can provide caregiving for somebody. So I went online. I filled out the application. And I don't know what happened. It was probably still me, not being serious about working or going back to work after so much time. So I stopped the application, didn't complete it. I think I was just halfway through. A couple days later, someone called me from the Pasadena office, and it was like, hey, we saw that you started the application. Are you going to finish it? So I was like, oh yes, and I felt bad, how unprofessional. I should have finished that application. So I told them I was going to finish it. When I got off the phone, I'm like, okay, now I don't have a reason. I have no excuse. I have to fill out that application. Did the application. A few days later, I had my phone interview. And then shortly after, I was here in the office for my orientation. And that same night, I was getting ready to meet my very first client. The next question is, what about caregiving did you enjoy the most, and what was your least favorite? Okay, what I enjoyed the most was that caregiving or going into caregiving wasn't what I expected it to be. I read the job description and I'm like, well, if I don't know how to do that, I can learn. I'm a smart person. But what I expected was I'm going to have these seniors as a client, and I was going to help them. I was going to clean for them. I was going to cook for them, maybe some personal care, assist them with their activities of daily living, stuff like that. But what Home Instead did was they matched me up with clients that they thought could benefit with the knowledge, maybe some of the skills that I already had. I actually have a bachelor's degree in behavioral science from way back then, and I've never applied it towards any particular job. It's mostly just, just life. And they matched me up with a client who had schizophrenia and had a developmental disability. And everything that I learned in those textbooks, all those years of school, all of a sudden, this person was right in front of me, and this is everything that I've studied and wrote papers about. So I enjoyed it. Every night I'd come on at 11 o'clock at night. I never knew what I was walking into with this client, but it was so fascinating. It was so interesting, all the things that I've learned from her. And I hope that somehow she had learned some things from me as well. I mean, you're teaching them how to communicate better. You're teaching them how to, just gain a better understanding of what's appropriate, or how can we convey a message to someone effectively. So that in itself was exciting for me. My least favorite was that, remember how I wasn't sure about how much time I wanted to work or where I was going to work? Well, when I filled out that online application, I remember writing 3 nights. I only wanted to work 3 nights. 4 if you really needed me, but I'm on for 3 nights. Well, they must have really needed me, because I constantly got calls about covering this shift, or can you work here, can you do this? And that was in 2017. 2021 isn't much different. There is a need for caregivers. There's always going to be someone aging, and people need us. So that was probably my least favorite, was having to work more than what I expected I was going to. And also, in a way, it might contradict that, but my other least favorite is the fact that when you're a caregiver and you work and you cover different shifts, sometimes it's temporary, sometimes you're just covering for another caregiver that maybe is on vacation or had something to do, couldn't go to work. But my least favorite part is that sometimes, you go to work and you help this person, and, even if it's only for 8 hours, you've already emotionally invested in them. And when you don't go back, or when it's temporary and they're done, you don't get to see what happens in the end. There seems to be like no closure. And, even today, sometimes I wonder, how are they doing? Did they ever have that surgery? How was their recovery? But yeah, so that's my least favorite, is sometimes not getting that closure on there. The next question is, can you share 2 examples of the skills or knowledge that you acquired as a caregiver? This question got me thinking a lot, because there's skills that we have, there's life skills that we have, and it's helped us get through school, get through our jobs and stuff. But I think some of the skills that I really honed in on as a caregiver was communication. You're communicating with your client, and sometimes you need to think of creative ways to talk to them, so that you're meeting them where they're at. And for example, if you have someone with dementia and you're trying to get them in the shower, most of the time, that's one of our struggles, is that, people don't want to take a shower. And you're trying to figure out creative ways. How am I going to get you in the shower? Or, we need to get this done because, your daughter's going to visit. So it's just different ways of convincing them that, yeah, we should do this. What do you think? And get them there. Also, you're speaking with family. You're communicating with them. They're asking you, well, how's mom? You can't just say mom's good. mom's good, dad's good. They want to know more. Well, what do you mean mom's good? What do you mean dad's good? What are they doing? What did they eat today? Or, what's something, fun that mom did this week, or something funny. Also, you might have a client that, they're going to the doctor. And so you're speaking to medical professionals as well. And your client can't articulate so much how they're feeling, what they're doing, what hurts. So as a caregiver, you're reporting all of these things to the medical professional. You're also taking down notes so that you can tell the family. The other skill is observation, being more observant. I am the least observant person there is that I've ever met. And that changed though once I became a caregiver, because I am responsible for someone else. No longer just me or my husband or my kids. This is someone else. And I have to pay attention to changes in their health. Maybe things that they do daily. Are they no longer able to walk the same way that they do? Are there any safety concerns? Just things that I notice with them. One of the other things too that I've gained more knowledge in is the aging process. And I've never had much interaction with the elderly, not so much, unless it's at a family gathering. And yes, I'm calling out my family. Some of you guys, I'm calling you elderly. Some of my friends, some of the folks at church. So learning more about the aging process has helped me in my interaction with them. I think my mom would disagree, but I think I'm more patient than I was even just a few years ago in understanding how people are, and especially the aging process and how it affects everyone. But the most important thing that I learned is that we are valuable. People are valuable. We mean something. We make a difference. You're born, you go to school, and then you go to work, and you work some more, and you're constantly reaching out for the next best thing, and then you've got your accomplishments probably all on the wall and everything. Then you find yourself years later, old and alone, and you can't take care of yourself anymore. So what Home Instead does is we help those people. We treat them with dignity, and we let them know, okay, so you did all of this. Okay, it's our turn. Let us help you. What you did mattered. You're special, and you have value still. So, the next question that, this is a good one. How did you apply these skills or knowledge to achieving your current position? Okay, so I worked as a caregiver, and I did the knock shifts, the overnight shifts, for about a year. And I am not exaggerating. That year of my life, I aged 5 years. 5 years. And the reason was because I did not have the ability to get adjusted to being awake and working 8-9 hour shifts at night and then sleeping during the day. No matter what I did, I had trouble sleeping during the day. So I was running off of 2-hour naps a few times a day. And after that year, I was like, I don't think I could do this anymore. So I had emailed the owner, Dr. Greg Sanchez, attached my resume and told him, hey, Dr. Greg, I am ready to work a 9-to-5 and work in the office. If you have any positions, I'd like you to consider me for them. Shortly after, he sent me an email, and he suggested that I apply for one of the positions. It was a part-time client care coordinator and scheduler. So I applied, and here I am in the office for over 2 years. I feel that coming in as a caregiver and then into the role that I am now, it has helped. It has helped establish my foundation. And I feel that amongst my peers here in the office, unless they started out as a caregiver, that I might have a little more advantage to them because I was out in the trenches. I was taking care of clients. I was in situations where I had to think fast. I was in situations where I had to make a decision. What am I going to do for my client? Or, what now? What am I going to say? What do I report this or, to the office, and how do I handle this? Also, as a caregiver, one of the things that I do enjoy is when they come in the office and they share maybe something that they're struggling with their client, and they want someone to bounce off ideas, or maybe just someone to listen. I'm like, come on into my office and let's talk. I went through something like that as well. Let me tell you about what worked for me. Maybe you'll find something that will work for your client as well. So, and also, starting off and working with clients that have developmental disabilities, that has helped me where I am today, because I am the client care coordinator for all of the regional center clients that we serve through our office here in Pasadena. And what the regional center is, it's just a corporation that is contracted through the state of California. And what they do is they provide lifelong support services to the developmentally disabled and to their families. All right, the next question. If you had to use one word to describe your journey to your current position, what would it be and why? All right, I'm gonna try to get through this without getting teary-eyed or anything, but the journey has been meaningful. I can honestly say that this job that I'm in now, and starting off as a caregiver, that even though when I go home late at night and I'm tired and I'm exhausted, or that I'm still thinking about, I need to take care of this or I need to take care of that, that I feel like I've touched someone's life. And maybe it's the adult children that called in asking about help for their parents. Maybe they never called anyone before. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't even know what services are available to them. So I could hope that I would have some information for them that I can share and provide some kind of, even a glimmer of hope that things will get better, things will get easier. We can help you with that. Or again, it might be a caregiver, struggling through something, and, maybe I said something to help them, maybe even to help them feel appreciated. Sometimes we forget to tell people, hey, I appreciate you. I know what you do is hard, and thank you. Maybe it's a client. Oh my goodness, the clients. We get clients that, I don't want a caregiver. I don't need a caregiver. I'm fine. I can drive. I can cook. I can do everything. And, they're pushing away the caregiver, and then they have their adult children. No, mom or dad, you need to have a caregiver. So, it's maybe me taking the time to talk to the client and help them understand. Your children are not trying to take away your freedom. They're not trying to take away your choices or your ability to enjoy life. They still want all of that for you. What we do, what Home Instead does, is we enhance that. You can still go get donuts at the corner. We'll drive you, or if you wanted to go get a hamburger, we'll go stop by after your doctor's appointment. Let's go through a drive-thru and get a couple burgers. We can do all that for you. We'll make your lives easier. So yes, I would say my journey is meaningful. So, what advice do you have for current caregivers interested in kickstarting their healthcare career? I never would have imagined that this is what I would have been doing, that I would have been a caregiver for someone professionally and get paid for it. But I love what I do. I hope that you guys are sensing how much I love my job, and I just love what I do. And if you're a caregiver now, either for a family member or professionally, you've already got the heart to help someone. And you're already way ahead, basically, of other people that come in here and just fill out an application because you've already got the heart. We can't teach you how to be compassionate. I can't teach you how to be patient. I certainly can't teach you how to be passionate about serving and caring for others. But I tell you, Home Instead can teach you how to do incontinence care, how to give a good bed bath. You know, we can teach you all of that stuff. So it doesn't matter if you don't have any experience. Those things we can teach. We can't teach you what's in your heart. So I think that if you've watched this as far as you have, maybe there's some curiosity as to what we do, what does a caregiver do, what does a client care coordinator do, and or maybe you're looking to change your career, or maybe like me, you wanted to make some extra money. Just give us a call. I would love to sit and chat with you, you know, and give you some ideas, relate some of my experiences with you. Maybe you'll find something that that interests you. And so, I don't know if there's any questions.
There is.
Okay.
We have one question from Melissa. How do you manage the clients who are stubborn about not having a caregiver? How do you make them feel comfortable enough to accept the help or even to consider the help?
That's a good question. So when you have a client, they don't want the help, I always suggest to the adult children is there any way we can start off gradually? You know, I know the children are like, oh, we need 5 days a week and they need care from when they wake up to when they go to bed. You know, and that's where I assess the situation. Well, what can mom and dad do by themselves? What do they need assistance with? And if it's not like they need help all day, maybe they can get up and get their own coffee and warm up their own oatmeal. So maybe we can just be there a few hours a day, maybe a couple days a week. I had a client that was in a similar situation, and we started off gradually, and she was really tough. She was very strong-willed, and, you know, she scared me sometimes, but we were, you know, consistent. And then, you know, slowly we went from 2 days a week to 3 days a week. And then before you knew it, we were there. As time progressed, all of this did not happen in a month. You know, this happened in, you know, a time span of maybe 16 months or so. We were there every day, and the services increased as they saw, wow, I don't have to do laundry anymore, or I don't have to call Access, or, you know, take public transportation, or whatever it might be to get to an appointment. I have someone that can take me there. So I think just, again, meeting them where they're at and just taking it gradually, not overwhelming them.
Perfect. We have one more question, or another question, asking what kind of training and support does Home Instead Pasadena provide? Okay,
yes, training. We are all about the training. We have a training coordinator here in the office, and first of all, when you're hired, you go through a 2-day, it's like 8 to 5 orientation, where you learn about the aging process, you learn about client safety. And then, of course, there's all of the human resources aspect of it. There's building relationships. We go over a lot of scenarios. We have a training room upstairs, and I fondly call her grandma, but she is, I guess she'd be called a mannequin or something, but she has her hospital bed, and we all treat her with great respect, and we practice on her. If you don't know how to change an adult disposable brief, here's grandma, let's show you. And if you don't know how to give a bed bath, we have all the materials, we'll teach you that. We have them monthly, you can sign up for them, or if it's like, you know, like, okay, I start with my client next week, I want to keep practicing, then we'll go there with you upstairs and we'll show you how to do it. We also have classes in dementia, you know, all day class, it's about 7 or 8 hours long. We have a managing aggressive behavior class where you learn how to manage these behaviors. You know, maybe it's someone with dementia, maybe it's someone with autism or schizophrenia, and we go over the different techniques of how to redirect them. We also have a hospice class, you know, where we can go over, you know, what to expect when you have a client that's in hospice. one of the newer classes that we have is a cooking class. We've had that. Most of you guys don't know how to cook. So we have a very basic cooking class. I think the first class we had a chicken breast, and I think 3 or 4 different ways of how to cook the chicken breast. And so that's also going to be a monthly thing that we do.
Perfect. And then we have someone asking, it's a personal one. Do you ever feel like wanting to return to being stay-at-home mother? Do you ever want to return to that?
Oh, whoever asked that question. In a way, I would love to have that life again, but my kids are grown. My 19-year-old is in college. I mean, unfortunately, he's stuck at home with us still because the campus is closed, so he was with us for another year. And then my daughter is 14, and and she still likes hanging out with me, but of course I think sometimes friends are more appealing than mom and dad, going to the mall and stuff. So I was able to do that. I had a good 15 years run with it. I think now it's like, I want to work with other people that need me. My family, they totally support what I do. Dinner is not ready at 5:30 anymore. And there's no fresh baked cookies for after school snack. I know that sounds like, oh yeah, right. But yeah, that was me. But they know I've taken care of them, and I guess this is my turn. It's my turn to serve other people.
Perfect. And then one final question would be, how has working at Homestead helped you with caring for loved ones in your family?
Oh, I wonder if my mom's listening. My mom is 77, and she's just amazing. You look at her and you think she's like, maybe in her 60s. I think in my interaction with her, I would like to hope that I'm a little bit more understanding, because as an adult child, you look at your parents and it's like, what do you mean you forgot? What do you mean this? Or didn't you ask me that? You just asked me that 5 minutes ago, and I told you it's the same answer. I mean, that's my first reaction to those questions. But learning about the aging process, learning about Alzheimer's, learning about, everything, that my clients may encounter, I take a step back and I look at my mom with my sad eyes, and I'm like, my mom is aging too. My relatives, they're aging too. And, I just, if I can treat my client with this much respect and understanding, what more my family? So I think it's helped me see them through other eyes as well.
That's good, though. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. And if you'd like to chat with me or anyone in the office about some information, maybe you're looking for a caregiver, maybe you want to be a caregiver or a client care coordinator, we can be reached at 626-486-0800.